Chapter 13. I'm Calling. During the night, however, it began to rain. Mary woke up and could not go to sleep again because she felt too cross. The wind was making a crying noise around the house, and the sound of it made her feel sad. Then suddenly the noise changed. "It isn't the wind now," she said. "It's the crying that I heard before." She got out of bed, took a candle, and went out into the passage. She went to the place where she had seen Mrs. Medlock on the day that she had opened doors. The noise was nearer. Someone was crying. She listened at the door. Yes, someone was crying in that room. She opened the door quickly. Inside there was a bedroom with a large bed in it. A boy was lying on the bed, and he was crying. He did not seem to be in pain, but he sounded tired and cross. He was about 10 years old, and he had a thin white face. His eyes were very big, and he did not look very healthy. "Who are you?" the boy asked. He was frightened. "Are you real?" "Of course I'm real," Mary answered. She was frightened too. "Are you real?" He looked at her hard. "Yes, I am. I'm Colin Craven. Who are you?" Mary looked at him hard too. "I'm Mary Lennox. Mr. Craven is my uncle. I came to live here when my mother and father died." "Mr. Craven is my father," said the boy. "No one told me that my uncle had a son," Mary said. "Come here," the boy said. "You're real, aren't you? I often see people when I'm asleep. You might be one of them." And he could touch her hand. "Did no one tell you that I was here?" she said. "No," he answered, "because they thought it might make me ill. I don't want people to see me. I don't want people to talk about me." "Why not?" asked Mary. "Because I'm always ill. I'm going to be a hunchback if I'm alive. But I shan't live." "This is a very strange house," Mary said quietly. "Everything is a secret. Does your father come to see you?" "Not often," answered Colin. "He doesn't want to see me. When he sees me, he thinks about my mother. She died when I was born. I think he hates me. He hates the garden because she died." Mary said thoughtfully. "What garden?" the boy asked. "Oh, just a garden that she used to like, that's all. Mr. Craven shut the garden when his wife died, and he hid the key. No one has been into the garden for 10 years. But Colvin wanted to know more about the garden. He asked her to tell him about it." "Where was it?" "Has she looked for the door?" "Has she asked the gardeners about it?" When Mary told him that no one would talk about it, he said something which frightened her very much. "I could make them talk about it," he said. "All the servants must do what I want. If I live, Miss Wade Manoa will be mine one day, and they know that." Mary was sad because Colin did not seem to want to live. But at that minute, she was more frightened that he would tell everyone about the secret garden. "I want the servants to find the key and to open the door," he went on. "I want them to take me there in my wheelchair." For the first time in his life, Colin was interested in something. "Oh, please, don't do that," Mary cried. "Why not?" he asked. He did not understand. "I thought you wanted to say it." "I do," she answered, "but if you make them open the door, it'll never be a secret again." But Colin still did not understand. "A secret?" he asked. "What do you mean?" So Mary tried to tell him. "You see," she said, "if we can find the garden, it'll be our own garden. Only we will know about it. Don't you see? It'll be much more fun if it's a secret." At last, Colin began to understand. "I've never had a secret before, But I think that secrets are nice, Mary went on. Perhaps we can find a boy to push your wheelchair, and then we can go to the garden alone. No one will know where we are. Then it will always be a secret garden, and you can come outside in the wind and the sunshine, and you will get better. Then she said, "Will Mrs. Medlock be very angry if she finds me here?" "She will do what I tell her to do," said Chloe. "I'm glad that you came tonight, and that's the only thing that's important." "And I'm glad I came," said Mary. "But I want you to be a secret too," said Colin. "I shan't tell them about you. I'll only tell Martha. She will tell you when I want to see you. She often takes care of me." "So Martha knew about you all the time?" Mary asked. Now she understood why Martha had looked so frightened when she had heard Colin before. They talked for a long time. At last Mary said, "I've been with you a long time. You must sleep now. I'll sing to you, and then perhaps you'll go to sleep. My servant in India used to sing this song to me." Mary began to sing very softly. Soon Colin went to sleep, and Mary went back to her own room. Chapter 14. Martha is frightened. It was still raining next morning. Mary could not go outside. When Martha came in, Mary told her, "I know who was crying." A look of great fear went across Martha's face. "Oh no," she cried. "How?" "I heard the noise again in the night," said Mary, "and I went to see what it was. It was Colin. I found him." "Oh, Mary," said Martha, "what have you done?" "I didn't tell you anything, but now they'll send me away. What shall I do?" "They won't send you away, Martha," said Mary. "He liked me. We talked for a long time. He was glad that I came." "Was he?" asked Martha. "Are you sure?" She did not believe Mary. "Did he let you know at him?" "Yes, I looked at him all the time," Mary answered. "I think he liked me." "I can't believe it. It must be magic," Martha said quietly. "He wants me to talk to him every day," Mary went on. "He's not going to tell Mrs. Medlock. It's a secret. He'll tell you when she wants to see me. Then you can tell me." She stopped. "What's wrong with him?" she asked. "No one really knows," said Martha. "After his wife's death, Mr. Craven didn't want to see the baby. He thought that the child was going to be a hunchback. He almost wanted the child to die." "But Colin isn't a hunchback," said Mary. "He didn't look like one." "No, he isn't yet," said Martha. "But his father is frightened because his back is weak. Colin knows it. An important doctor came from London once. He saw Colin and said that he wasn't a hunchback and he wasn't going to be one. He said that the boy must go out in the fresh air, but Colin didn't believe him. I wonder," said Mary. "I got better when I went outside and watched flowers and plants growing. Do you think that Colin would get better too?" "I don't know. He says that he hates the garden and the wind. He had his worst illness when they took him into the rose garden. He thinks that he's going to die. He only sits in bed and reads books." That afternoon, Martha and Mary that Colin wanted to see her. "It's magic," she said. "He has got up out of bed and he's sitting in an armchair." Mary went quickly. She did not want to see Colin as much as she wanted to see Deacon, but she wanted to see him very much. In daylight, Colin's room was very beautiful. It was warm and pleasant. "Come in," said Colin. "I've been thinking about you all morning." "I've been thinking about you too," said Mary. "Poor Martha. He's very frightened. She thinks that they will send her away. But she didn't tell me about you. I found you by myself." "Tell Martha to come here," Colin said. When Martha came in, he said, "You have to do what I want, don't you?" "Yes, Colin," Martha answered. "Yes. Are not to be frightened that they will send you away. If you do what I want, I will take care of you, that's all." Martha went out. She looked very surprised. Mary looked thoughtful. "What are you thinking about?" Colin asked. "I'm thinking about two things. Firstly, that you are like an Indian prince that I once saw. Speak to Martha. Everybody had to do what he wanted. He wasn't very nice." "And what was the second thing?" Colin asked. "I was thinking about you and Dickson. You are not at all like him." "Who is Deacon?" he asked. Mary wanted to talk about Deacon. "He is Martha's brother. He is 12 years old, and there is no one in the world like him. He can to everyone and bird. He plays a pipe very softly, and they come to listen. He has lived on the moor all his life, and he knows where all the animals and birds live." "I never see anything because I'm ill," said Colin sadly. "I can't go on the moor." "Why not?" asked Mary. "You might go one day." "No, I won't. I'm going to die. Everyone wants me to die." "Don't be foolish." "Who wasn't you to die?" Mary asked. "The servants and Dr. Craven. He is my father's brother. If I die, he'll get Miss Wave, I think that my father wants me to die, too." "Oh, no, he doesn't," said Mary. This talk of death made her feel sad. "Don't let's talk about death," she said. "Let's talk about life. Let's talk about Deacon." They talked about Deacon and his mother and their little house on the moon. They talked about the little green points in the garden and about Bim with the stuffed robin. They laughed about everything, and Colin felt happy. He did not remember that his back was weak. Suddenly, Dr. Craven and Mrs. Medlock walked into the room. Dr. Craven looked very frightened when he saw Mary. "What's this?" he cried. "Are you all right, Colin? Are you all right?" "Of course, I'm all right," said Colin. And he spoke like the Indian prince again. "This is Mary Lennox. I asked her to come. I like her. I want to see her often. No one told her about me." He went home because Mrs. Medlock looked cross and frightened at the same time. She heard me one night when I was crying, and she found me by herself. Dr. Craven told Colvin he must remember that he was ill. Then he and Mrs. Medlock went away. "But I don't want to remember that I'm ill," Colin said to Mary as soon as they had gone. "I don't remember when I'm with you. That is why I like you, Mary. Now we'll have tea together and you can tell me more about India." During the next week, Mary saw Colin every day. The week went very quickly, and the two children had a great deal of fun together. There was only one thing which Mary had to remember. She wanted to tell Colin that she had been inside the secret garden, but she did not know whether he could keep the secret by the end of the week. However, Mary was sure that Colin would get better if he went outside. She knew that he didn't want anyone to see him. But at last she asked him, "Would you be angry if Dickon saw you?" "No, I don't think so," he answered. "Dickon is the one person in the world who would make me angry." Chapter 15. The Secret Garden again. The next day Mary woke up very early. After a week of rain, the sky was blue again, and the sun was shining. "It's warm," cried Mary. "The garden will begin to grow again. Oh, how wonderful!" She got out of bed and opened the window. "I must see the secret garden now," she cried. "I can't wait." She dressed quickly and ran out into the gardens. "I'm sure that Dickon will come today," he thought, and she ran even faster towards the secret garden. But Dickon was in the garden before her. She saw him when she opened the door. He was working hard, and some of his animals were here with him. "Dickon," Mary cried, "how did you get there so early?" "The sun has only just got up," Dickon laughed. He said. "I got up before the sun did. I couldn't stay in bed." "Oh, Dickon," Mary said, "I'm so happy." They looked at all the new plants together. The roses were alive. Later in the summer there would be flowers on them. Even the plants which grew on the walls were becoming green. "Everything is alive again," Mary said. Suddenly Dickon stood quite still. He had seen the robin's red feathers. The little bird had just flown into a big tree. "Keep still," Dickon told Mary. "He is working hard. He has found a wife, and he is making a home for her where she can lay her eggs. We mustn't frighten him while he is building it. Abdu, he'll never be our friend again." So Mary and Dickon sat on the grass. Dickon spoke to Mary very softly. He told her not to watch the robin because that would frighten them. "We mustn't talk about him, then," said Mary. "Oh, I will watch him. There is something I want to ask you, Dickon. Do you know about Colin?" Dickon turned to her and said, "Why? What do you know about him?" "I have seen him," she answered. "He likes me. He says that when he is with me, he does remember that he is going to die." "Well," said Dickon, "I'm glad that you know about him. I knew about him, but I had to hide it from you. I don't like things." "How do you know about Colin?" Mary asked him. "Everyone knows that Mr. Craven has a son," he answered, "but no one ever sees him because he is hunchback. Mr. Craven can't look at the boy because he is so like his mother. Poor Mr. Craven! He wishes that the child had never been born." "He isn't a hunchback," said Mary, "but he thinks that he is going to be one. It's very sad. I've been thinking, Dixon," she went on, "do you think that Colin should keep our secret?" "I think so," said Dickon. "If he could, we could bring him out into the garden in this wheelchair. I'm sure that the world get better in the fresh air." "The doctor from London said that he would," said Mary. "Well, we must bring him out here as soon as possible," said Dickon. Mary and Dickon worked very hard that morning. Mary went into the house for a meal, but she went out to the garden again quickly. Martha, I'm very busy in the great garden. Deacon is waiting for me.